Imagine a time of great religious fervor, a period when faith was the cornerstone of life, and the fate of entire civilizations seemed to hang in the balance. This was the era when the fate of Christendom was a matter of utmost importance, and the call to defend it resonated deeply across Europe. The 11th century saw the rise of the Crusades, a series of military campaigns that would forever alter the course of history. These were not just wars, but holy wars, sanctioned by the Latin Church and driven by a fervent desire to reclaim sacred lands. The primary objective of these campaigns was to reclaim the Holy Land, particularly Jerusalem, from Muslim rule, a city revered by Christians, Muslims, and Jews alike. The Crusades would span centuries, leaving an enduring mark on the relationship between Europe and the Middle East, shaping the geopolitical landscape in profound ways. The Crusades were a complex phenomenon, driven by a mix of religious devotion, political ambition, and economic opportunity. They were not merely battles, but a confluence of various motivations. For centuries, pilgrimage routes to sacred sites in the Holy Land had been open to Christians, allowing them to express their faith through these spiritual journeys. However, the rise of the Seljuk Turks, a powerful Sunni Muslim dynasty, posed a significant threat to these pilgrimages and to the Byzantine Empire, the eastern bastion of Christianity. In 1095, Byzantine Emperor Alexios I Komnenos appealed to Pope Urban II for military aid against the Seljuk threat, seeking to protect his empire and the Christian faith. Pope Urban II saw this as an opportunity not only to assist the Byzantine Empire but also to unite Christendom under his spiritual leadership and rally support for a common cause. At the Council of Clermont, he delivered a powerful and impassioned sermon, urging Christians to take up arms and liberate Jerusalem from Muslim control, promising spiritual rewards for those who joined the cause. The Pope's call to arms resonated deeply with people from all walks of life, from nobles to peasants, each driven by their own hopes and aspirations. Knights saw a chance for glory, honor, and the acquisition of land, while also fulfilling their religious duty. Meanwhile, peasants burdened by poverty and hardship hoped to escape their difficult lives and find salvation through participation in the Crusades. This potent mix of religious zeal, political expediency, and economic opportunity fueled the Crusades for centuries to come, leaving a legacy that would be remembered for generations. Pope Urban II's sermon at Clermont in 1095 is considered a pivotal moment in history. His impassioned plea for a holy war against the Muslims in the East was not just a call to arms, but a call to faith, unity, and purpose. The Pope's words ignited a firestorm of religious fervor that swept across Europe. His message resonated deeply with the people, who were already living in a time of great religious devotion and turmoil. He urged Christians to embark on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land, promising them remission of sins and eternal glory. This promise was incredibly appealing to a population that believed deeply in the afterlife and the salvation of their souls. Urban skillfully played on the emotions of his audience, painting a vivid picture of Muslim atrocities against Christians in the East. He described the suffering of their fellow Christians in such a way that it stirred a profound sense of urgency and righteousness. The response to Urban's call was overwhelming. The idea of fighting for a holy cause combined with the promise of spiritual rewards was irresistible to many. Thousands of people, from humble peasants to wealthy nobles, heeded the summons. They left their homes, their families, and their livelihoods behind, driven by a powerful mix of faith, hope, and adventure. This diverse group, driven by a shared sense of purpose, became known as the People's Crusade. They were united by their common goal, despite their varied backgrounds and social standings. However, lacking military discipline and leadership, the People's Crusade met a tragic end, with many massacred by Turkish forces. Their lack of preparation and experience made them vulnerable to the well-organized and battle-hardened Turkish armies. The First Crusade, from 1096 to 1099, was more organized, led by experienced military commanders like Godfrey of Bouillon and Raymond IV of Toulouse. These leaders brought a level of strategy and discipline that was crucial for the success of the campaign. These crusaders were better equipped and trained, and their journey to the Holy Land was marked by both hardship and military success. They faced numerous challenges, including long marches, harsh weather, and supply shortages, but their determination never wavered. The Crusaders besieged and captured several important cities, including Nicaea, Antioch, and finally Jerusalem, in 1099. Each victory was hard-fought and came at a great cost, but it also brought them closer to their ultimate goal. The capture of Jerusalem was a defining moment in the Crusades. It was seen as a divine endorsement of their mission and a fulfillment of their spiritual quest. The Crusaders, overcome with religious fervor, unleashed a brutal massacre on the city's inhabitants, both Muslims and Jews. This act of violence was a stark reminder of the darker side of religious zeal. This act of violence, while shocking, highlights the complex and often contradictory nature of the Crusades, where religious zeal could coexist with extreme brutality. It serves as a powerful example of how deeply held beliefs can drive people to both great and terrible actions. The capture of Jerusalem in 1099 marked a turning point in the Crusades. The Crusaders, having achieved their primary objective, established 4 Crusader states in the Levant, the Kingdom of Jerusalem, the County of Tripoli, the County of Edessa, and the Principality of Antioch. These states, though geographically small, represented a significant Christian foothold in the Muslim world. The Crusader states were ruled by European nobles who adopted a hybrid system of governance, blending Western feudalism with elements of Byzantine and Muslim administration. The Latin East, as it became known, was a melting pot of cultures, where Western European, Byzantine and Muslim traditions interacted and sometimes clashed. Despite their military successes, the Crusader states faced constant threats from their Muslim neighbors. The Zengid dynasty, under the leadership of Imad ad-Din Zengi, emerged as a powerful force in Syria. Zengi's capture of Edessa in 1144 sent shockwaves through Christendom and prompted the Second Crusade. The Second Crusade, from 1147 to 1149, led by European monarchs Louis VII of France and Conrad III of Germany, aimed to recapture Edessa, but ended in failure. The Crusaders, plagued by internal divisions and military setbacks, were unable to achieve their objectives. The Second Crusade marked a turning point, highlighting the growing strength of Muslim forces in the region. Section 4. The Tide Turns. The Second and Third Crusades. The Second Crusade's failure sent shockwaves through Europe, shattering the aura of invincibility that had surrounded the First Crusade. Muslim forces, emboldened by their victory, continued to press their advantage. The emergence of a new leader, Saladin, would further alter the balance of power in the region. Saladin, a Kurdish Muslim, rose to prominence as a brilliant military strategist and a unifying figure in the Muslim world. He united warring Muslim factions under his banner and set his sights on the Crusader states. In 1187, at the Battle of Hattin, Saladin's forces decisively defeated the Crusader army, capturing Jerusalem shortly after. The fall of Jerusalem sent shockwaves through Europe, prompting the Third Crusade, which lasted from 1189 to 1192, led by 3 of Europe's most powerful monarchs: Richard I of England, also known as Richard the Lionheart, Philip II of France, and Frederick I, Holy Roman Emperor. The Third Crusade, while ultimately unsuccessful in retaking Jerusalem, witnessed fierce battles and remarkable feats of military prowess. Richard the Lionheart emerged as a legendary figure during the Third Crusade. His military acumen and bravery earned him the respect of both his allies and enemies. Although he failed to recapture Jerusalem, Richard negotiated a treaty with Saladin, securing Christian access to the city's holy sites. Section 5. Saladin's Triumph and the Legacy of Richard the Lionheart. Saladin's capture of Jerusalem in 1187 marked a significant turning point in the Crusades, altering the course of history in the region. His victory shattered the illusion of Crusader invincibility and ushered in a period of Muslim resurgence in the Holy Land, challenging the dominance of the Crusader states. Saladin, known for his chivalry and military genius, became a revered figure in the Muslim world. His leadership and strategic acumen were instrumental in uniting the Muslim forces against the Crusaders. Richard the Lionheart, despite his renowned military prowess and bravery on the battlefield, was forced to accept the reality of the situation in the Holy Land. His efforts, though valiant, could not overturn Saladin's control. His treaty with Saladin, while securing Christian access to Jerusalem, acknowledged Muslim control over the city. This agreement was a pragmatic solution to a complex and protracted conflict. Richard's pragmatic approach, though criticized by some contemporaries and later historians, reflected the changing dynamics of the Crusades. It was a recognition of the limits of military power and the necessity of diplomacy. The Third Crusade, while failing to achieve its primary objective of recapturing Jerusalem, had a lasting impact on the relationship between Europe and the Middle East. It highlighted the complexities of the conflict and the interplay of various political and religious factors. Richard and Saladin's interactions, characterized by mutual respect and a shared understanding of warfare, became legendary. Their conduct during the conflict set a precedent for chivalry and honor in warfare. Their story transcended the battlefield, becoming a testament to the complexities of human nature even in times of conflict. It illustrated how adversaries could find common ground and respect amidst the chaos of war. The Crusades, initially conceived as a holy war to liberate the Holy Land, had evolved into a complex geopolitical struggle. The motivations behind the campaigns had shifted significantly over time. The religious zeal that fueled the early Crusades had waned, replaced by political expediency and the pursuit of power. The Crusaders' objectives became more about territorial gains and political influence than purely religious goals. The stage was set for a new chapter in the Crusades, one that would see campaigns waged beyond the Holy Land. The legacy of leaders like Saladin and Richard the Lionheart would continue to influence the course of history in the region and beyond.